The Central After Hours Assessment and Bail Placement Service, CAHAPPS, is a statewide service that operates within the Youth Justice and Youth Support Services Division of the Department of Human Services and in accordance with relevant legislation. Any young person who is aged between 10 and 18 years who is at risk of remand and/or requires appropriate accommodation to facilitate a bail placement is eligible for CAHAPPS involvement. Usually, a young person will be granted bail by police after being charged with an offence. However, in some circumstances, the police may oppose bail and the young person's application for bail needs to be heard. If they oppose bail after hours, police must organise a bail hearing at the police station in a timely manner. This should allow the Central After Hours Assessment and Bail Placement Service to conduct an assessment by telephone or in person, and then a bail justice will attend for the hearing. The CAHAPPS representative will undertake a thorough assessment of the young person and provide assessment and advice at the bail hearing about the suitability of a bail placement.
Hi, Mark Dacey, how you going?
I'm Melissa from the Central After Hours and Assessment Bail Placement Service.
Okay, we've got Jason inside waiting for you.
Great.
I'll take you through to where he is.
Thank you.
When the CAHAPPS representative arrives at the police station, they will have a discussion with the police informant to confirm all the information obtained during the phone referral. This information includes the young person's details, their cultural background and whether an interpreter or other support person is present or required, whether the young person is of Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander background, and if so, whether the Aboriginal Legal Service has been notified. Details about what led the young person to be arrested and brought to the station and what the charges are. Whether they are currently on bail, and if so, how many counts of bail and any conditions attached. Any immediate health or well-being issues requiring medical assessment or treatment, or any immediate protective risk issues requiring after-hours child protection emergency service to be involved. Whether the guardian or caregiver has been contacted or has been at the station, and if they are supporting a bail application. Whether the young person has suitable accommodation and whether police would consider bail if suitable accommodation could be accessed. Confirmation that a bail justice has not been contacted yet to allow for CAHAPPS assessment to occur.
Okay.
So he's in there.
Okay, so he's just on one count of bail?
That's it, yep.
Yeah, and bail conditions?
To reside at his parents' place and have a 10 o'clock curfew.
Mum and Dad, are they at the station?
No.
And he's been charged with one count of robbery?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, no other charges?
No.
Okay, no problem. I'll have a chat with him and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Thanks. Hi. My name is Melissa. I'm from the Central After Hours Assessment and Bail Placement Service. My job is to assess whether you are suitable for a bail placement tonight. This will involve talking to yourself, your parents or your guardian. There'll also be a bail hearing in which I will be providing an assessment, but I'll be telling you my recommendation beforehand. This is a voluntary service. Would you like to accept the service?
Yes.
Yeah. And are you wanting to apply for bail tonight?
Yeah, I don't want to get locked up.
I'll also be taking some notes which will go in a report to Youth Justice.
Okay.
During their discussion with the young person, the CAHAPPS coordinator will explain their role and the voluntary nature of the service, and then ask the young person questions to determine their suitability for a bail placement. These questions include: what is their understanding of the current situation? What have they been charged with? In their words, what happened to lead to their arrest? Have they been remanded in the past, and what was their experience of remand? Can they identify any triggers for their behaviour? If so, are they able to identify strategies to be able to manage triggers in the future? What is their attitude towards the charges? Are there current substance abuse, mental health or well-being issues that have contributed to the current circumstances? Are they attending school, training, employment or day programs, and if so, through which service? What information can they provide to a bail justice during the hearing as to why they should be granted bail? If bail is considered, What bail conditions could the young person successfully comply with?
So are you on bail at the moment?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, and what are you on bail for?
Car theft.
Okay. Do you understand what it means to be on bail?
Yeah. It means I can't do any more crimes and then I must follow what my bail says.
And how many times have you been on bail before?
Just once before.
What do you think would happen if you breached your bail?
Probably get locked up.
So can you tell me why you think you've been in trouble with the police?
Get bored, and when I hang out with my mates we just seem to get into trouble.
Okay. So it seems like you only started getting in trouble recently with the police?
Yeah.
What do you think you could do differently in the future?
Maybe get a job. If I have stuff to do I just won't be hanging around.
And what do you think Mum and Dad would think about that?
Dad's not around anymore. Mum gets annoyed that I keep on getting into trouble.
Okay. Do you have any support services involved with the family?
Mum has a social worker that helps her out, from time to time.
Yeah. And what about yourself? Did you want a support service involved with you?
Yeah, it'd be great to have someone to chat to about stuff.
Okay. And drugs? Do you use any drugs?
Sometimes dope.
Okay. So if you get bail tonight, what conditions do you think you could stick to?
Live with my mum, stay at home, or maybe get a job and stay out of trouble.
Yep.
Bail conditions must not be more onerous for the young person than the nature of the offence and the circumstances of the young person would dictate. The imposition of special conditions is to ensure that the young person appears in accordance with the bail, does not commit any offence whilst on bail, does not endanger the safety of others, and does not interfere with the witnesses.
Okay, the application for the bail hearing is like a court, but it'll happen here at the police station. So instead of a magistrate, it'll be a bail justice. The bail justice is responsible for making the final decision as to whether you receive bail tonight. It's not about whether you're guilty or you're innocent. During the hearing, the bail justice will want to know if you're applying for bail, and you'll need to explain to the bail justice why you think you should get bail, given you're already on one count of bail. Yep, do you have any questions?
What happens if I don't get bail?
Well, if you're remanded, and as you're 16, you will go to the Melbourne Youth Justice Centre, which is at Parkville. There you will go till the next court day or the next business day. They will then take you the next business day to the Children's Court, where a magistrate will then decide whether you get bail on that day. If you do get bail tonight, though, you must remember you cannot commit any further offences and you must not breach your bail. A bail justice will also be giving you a court date in which you will need to attend. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and have a chat with your mum and just talk about the situation. I'll then come back and let you know our recommendation, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Will you be okay?
Sure.
If the young person is remanded, there are a number of remand centres where they may be taken. Parkville Youth Residential Centre accommodates young men aged 10 to 14 who are placed on remand, as well as those who have been sentenced by the Children's Court. Parkville also accommodates young women aged between 10 and 21 years. The Melbourne Youth Justice Centre accommodates young men aged 15 to 18 years. In rural areas, the young person must be remanded to a remand centre or to a jail in a prescribed region of the state. These are known as gazetted holding cells. There are prescribed locations in regional areas.
Hi, I'm just going to make a quick phone call to Mum and then I'll get back to you.
Yep.
Thanks. Hi, it's Melissa calling from the Central After Hours Assessment and Bail Placement Service. I'm at Glen Waverley Police Station with your son Jason.
The CAHABPS representative will attempt to contact the young person's parents or guardian to inform them about the young person's situation and to clarify any information such as their understanding of the situation that led to the young person being charged, their willingness to provide support and/or placement for the young person or otherwise other appropriate placements with family or friends, what they identify as current issues for the young person, family composition and background, the family's response to CAHABPS involvement. The CAHABPS representative should encourage the parents or guardian to attend the police station if they are able to.
Okay, I've just had a chat with Mum and I'm just going to go and have a chat with the young person and let them know what's going on.
Okay.
Jason, I've had a chat with your mum and she wants you to return home tonight. If you are bailed though, you need to make sure that you follow through with looking for work and also with the other things that we discussed earlier. So as I said, there'll be a bail hearing, which I'll remain here to be a support for you, and I'll also be giving an assessment and a recommendation. And our recommendation tonight is that you are bailed back to mum's with strict bail conditions. Okay?
Great.
All right, I'm just going to go and let the police know that we're ready to proceed with the remand hearing, and I'll be back soon.
To determine the young person's suitability for bail placement, the CAHAPPS representative will consider the following: the age and vulnerability of the young person, the nature and seriousness of the offence, their risk to the community, likely compliance with bail conditions, prior criminal history including type and patterns of offending, previous history of incarceration, any history of failing to appear and if there is a current flight risk, the number of current sets of bail and type of charges, physical, emotional and mental health and well-being, living arrangements, education, training and employment participation, support network available, and the young person's attitude to support. When the CAHAPPS assessment is complete, the CAHAPPS coordinator will advise the young person of their recommendation and then let the police officer know that they can contact a bail justice. The CAHAPPS role is to undertake an assessment of the young person's suitability for a bail placement and to provide bail advice. The CAHAPPS representative will make sure the young person understands the CAHAPPS role and that it is a voluntary service. CAHAPPS will attempt to contact the young person's parent or guardian to discuss the young person's situation with them. CAHAPPS will complete an assessment and take into consideration the age and vulnerability of the young person, the seriousness of the offence, the future risk to the community, the young person's likely compliance with bail conditions, their previous history of incarceration, the supports available to the young person, the impact of exposure to a youth justice custodial service. The CAHAPPS representative will explain to the young person what will happen if they do or do not get bail.